Hey everyone. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the history of my reaction channel as far as like reaction formats go. Now anyone that's been on the channel for a while has probably noticed that that's changed quite a bit, through the past year or two that I've been doing this whole thing. And I have reasons for that, and that's kind of what I'm going to get into in this video, as well as more future stuff like what I'm currently doing, how that's working for me, what I'm going to be doing in the near future, that sort of thing is kind of what I'm going to get into with this video. So yeah, as I discuss the history of my reaction formats, I'm going to have like relevant screenshots of them on the screen. So let's start with the very beginning of how my very early videos, what they look like, and bam. Okay. So right here, you have my low quality webcam footage right there in the middle. And I had initially tried to like stretch it out to fit in the proper, 1280 by 720 canvas, and it just did not look good at all stretched out like that. So plan B was to draw a crappy blue background and put it behind it. So that's what I opted to do. So that's that. And then down below, you can see a little bit of anime footage, just enough to see the subtitles. Now, this is how I ended up doing things because this is, I had saw reactions on YouTube. I won't say who specifically, but this is kind of what I saw, as what was being done for, like, anime reactors that do seasonal anime. This seemed to be the standard, so this is what I opted to do. Because I didn't truly know, but I knew on a surface level that anime reactors can sometimes run into, like, copyright issues, at this point. And this was a pretty safe format to do that, Anybody that really wants to watch an anime episode really doesn't want to watch it like this, like only 1/4 of the footage with no audio, with some dude behind it talking over it. Nobody really wants to watch an episode like that. So you have a pretty good fair use argument with this sort of format. So it was fine. I had no real problem with this. The only copyright issue I ever ran into was with the company that's literally Satan when it comes to copyright infringement, and that would be, of course, King Records. They were the only ones that I ever ran into any trouble with in this format, and that was with Aho Girl and Sura Children, something like that. Anyway, that was the only issue I ever had with this format. Now, I eventually moved on to this format. Now, I had seen a reactor that actually was able to kind of get away with having the full actual footage in the upper right-hand corner like this, But what he did to fool the automatic copyright detection was to do things like flip it and make it transparent. And of course, it helps if you have something like behind it. Like in my case, I have partial webcam footage, partial blue background, which helps to distort it. So basically, the idea was if you distorted it enough, you can get to the point where anybody watching can tell what's happening, but it's reasonable to fool, some sort of algorithm bot detection that might not be able to tell what it is. And this worked for this worked for a while. I was kind of happy with this for a while. Obviously it doesn't look that great, but you could still tell what it was, and I imagine it was preferable to the only subs method that I did before. However, the biggest problem was the fact that this may have fooled automatic copyright detection, but actual, companies that search YouTube for, infringing content, they did not care much for this format. Some of them really did not. So I would actually get some manual copyright takedowns, copyright strikes from this format. Because there are some companies that are okay with just the subs, but some of those ones that are okay with that were not okay with this. That's something I learned pretty quickly. I did not guess that would be the case at all, but that turned out to very much be the case. So because of that, I ended up dropping this format. Initially, I only dropped it for like seasonal shows because those were the highest risk for companies to be like trolling on YouTube looking for episodes because they're always the most protective of currently airing stuff. So, initially I just kind of stopped doing it for that and only did it for like old shows, but eventually I just abandoned it altogether. And actually, I think I'm actually getting ahead of myself. I should probably move on to my third slide. Okay, now, I eventually cleaned up my format a little bit like this. This looks better than what I did before, in my opinion. I actually was kind of happy with how this looked for the most part. I actually had a cool monitor kind of over the footage, which made it, I thought it made it look more professional, much more cool. And I actually drew that in GIMP 2.0, the free Photoshop-like program. And I was pretty proud of that. Even if I followed a tutorial to do it, I still was proud of it regardless. Anyway, I thought it looked pretty cool. I even had my little username behind it, to kind of distort it a little bit more, because I want to avoid the automatic copyright detection and all that. So that helped with that. It was still transparent and stuff, but just it looked a lot better. And I liked this. This worked out for a while. Of course, at this point, I think I was only doing this for. Oh, wait, no, this was a seasonal anime, so I don't know. I'm not sure I have the timeline completely straight in my head right now, but the point is, I did this. I liked this. I thought this was cool. I had no real problem with this. But one of the problems I did run into was not only was manual copyright strikes a problem, but even the automatic ones were starting to become more of a thing. Like the YouTube copyright detection algorithm was getting better. Like this was enough to fool it for a while, but then it stopped being enough to fool it. This show here is Slow Start, by the way. That'll be relevant later. Anyway, so what I did in response to that was I added like another Senrai Kai logo there to block it more, and that worked. It was once again enough to block it. But as it just got better and better, or kind of worse and worse for me, and then I had to bump it up to 3, like this. I also made it bigger here, which I think in retrospect probably made the problem worse as well. But once it got to this point where I had to cover up so much of the screen with it, it just got to the point where it wasn't worth it anymore. So I just ended up abandoning this reaction footage in the corner format entirely, because it just reaches the point where it's not worth it anymore. It just wasn't. Yeah, that's 5. Okay. So what's my 6th slide? Oh yeah, that brings me to this. Now, now I'm getting into future stuff. Well, maybe I should have talked about current stuff before future stuff, but I mean, it's all kind of the same thing. Anyway, because this is similar enough to my current format, it probably doesn't need its own screenshot. But what I do now is I just have the subtitles like that over a black background, as opposed to like, as opposed to this, where it's actual anime footage behind it. It just became just the blackness, but the subs are still there, so you can still read it. You can still, roughly follow along. Maybe not quite as well without the actual reference footage, but it should have been just as easy to sync for people that do, sync up their own reference footage for it to me. So this is the format I do now. It doesn't look exactly like this. This is actually, for something else. But basically, the idea is the same. The subs, that part, that's the relevant part of this. What the screenshot actually is I took an old anime reaction, Slow Start, that had the footage in the corner. Well, that's Slow Start. Yeah, that's Slow Start. And I basically like covered all that up. The bottom I covered up with the blackness and the subs, and the upper bit there I covered up with just like the timer, the logo, stuff like that. And then I re-uploaded that to YouTube. This way I could have a copy of my reaction up there for people to watch, that I don't have to worry about running into issues with. Because part of the problem is that even though I stopped doing this type of thing, the problem is that those videos are still up, and companies still like search for it, and well, not even necessarily just search for it, both search for it, and like I said, the detection gets better. So as a result, every once in a while I just suddenly get an email that says, "Hey, this video you uploaded 1.5 years ago, yeah, we take issue with it, so it's now blocked." So at that point, anyone that wants to watch our reaction series is now going to have to skip that episode, or I'm going to have to go back and fix it. And that's not even the worst of it. I mean, that's annoying, but what's truly annoying was when they actually manually copyright strike it, which had happened somewhat recently. And that's kind of what led to my decision to completely redo any anime that does have this corner footage style here. Like anything like this that I care about enough to, keep on the channel and have the ability to download, of course, that I'm going to remake into this format. I'm just going to put the black subs over it like that. Maybe the logo up there, and then the timer below it. So I've done this with Slow Start episode 1 and 2. Those aren't actually up yet, but basically, yeah, those are going to replace the current Slow Start episodes. But those will be unlisted, and you can still find them in the description of the new the new version. You'll still be able to watch them for people that care about that. Like I'm not going to full on delete them unless I get put into a position where I have to. Like if I still run into issues with those getting striked after I don't see how that's possible. But if it did happen, if they still manage to get striked, manual strikes, even after being unlisted somehow, then I would have to completely get rid of them. But for now, the plan is redo any anime in this style, you know, redo it as this style, and then this style will be still available as an unlisted video in the description of the new ones. So that's my current plan, of course, because I started doing things like this with this black background behind the subs style, and the reception was actually, you know, I might as well just put my my footage back on. Well, I actually had to close all these to do that, but just give me a second. Okay, now we're back to my footage. So, yes, anyway, like I was saying, the whole subs over the black background thing, the reception that I got for that was actually more positive than I was expecting. I was definitely expecting more backlash of that, you know, comments saying, what the heck, I can't see any of the anime footage. What's happening here? I'm so confused. Like, I actually expected a lot of comments like that, and I really didn't get many like that at all, which surprised me. But, yeah, the reception definitely seems to be within acceptable parameters, you know, I guess is a good way to put it. As a result, yeah, I'm okay with taking the very unacceptable stuff, you know, this stuff, and making it into the more acceptable stuff like this. Although I do feel like I'm kind of repeating myself a lot, but hopefully I got my point across. If you do have any questions or are confused about anything, feel free to you know, ask me in the comment section below. But it's just, you know, if you're not a YouTuber, you really don't fully grasp how much of a nightmare the YouTube copyright whole system is, you know, having to deal with the automatic copyright algorithms, manual copyright strikes from companies that just don't care about fair use, have no respect for it at all. You know, like if somebody was to just upload a reaction where they literally just shoved the footage in the corner, no editing it at all, and just kind of put it over your webcam footage, that would just get blocked immediately. Like nobody would see it, just immediately blocked worldwide. So, you know, even if you're the kind of person that does those like 10-minute highlight reactions, those still, people run into issues with those. Like some of the really big, you know, YouTube reaction channels that have like $10,000 a month Patreons, you know, and all that, that like to do that sort of 10-minute highlight style, you know, and then offer the full length for money, which I've learned is a key to making a lot of money as reactors that do that, but I really don't have the time to do that with how many shows I react to, or the patience to deal with the YouTube copyright system, neither of those things. But anyway, you know, even those 10-minute highlight stuff, that you really have to cut that up a lot. Like I read somewhere that if each individual clip had to be less than 10 seconds and you would be good, and I tried doing that and it just still kept running into issues. Like it kept giving me, this is blocked because of this segment. Then I would cut it down more. I was like, okay, now it's blocked because of this segment. Okay, I'll cut down that more. And every time you have to redo it, that's reopening it up in your editing software and re-rendering it and re-uploading it, and just I could not describe with words what a nightmare that was when I was testing that. It made me decide pretty quickly that I was not going to do that 10-minute highlight nonsense unless I could pay an editor to do it for me, which is also probably not going to happen at any point. But anyway, yeah, the point is that YouTube copyright nightmare, just straight up. You know, it's why you have some reactors like having their 10-minute highlights uploaded to their Vimeo account or whatever. Because YouTube is just that bad. Like, sometimes people offer, like, suggestions in the comment section when it comes to copyright issues, but those people usually don't know what YouTube has problems with, just how little you can get away with, how much you have to do to have any chance of getting away with it, and usually that won't work either. So it's just a giant nightmare. That's why I'm really happy with just doing something like this, you know? Because there should be zero chance of any automatic copyright detection, just straight up. And the vast majority of companies, I don't think, would actually give a copyright strike to that. I think King Records is probably the only company that's disgusting enough to actually do that. They haven't yet. They haven't done that to me yet, but so far I haven't reacted to one of their shows with this format, so I don't know if they will. But I'm willing to bet you they would still do it, even though it doesn't have an ounce of their episode video in it. They would probably still do it. I'm almost willing to bet money on that, almost. But I guess we'll have to see. But even if that's the case, when you get a copyright strike, you can dispute it, and it's a lot easier to dispute it. You know, you can do that with a lot more confidence if you literally don't have any of their footage in your video. Like, that's a pretty good fair use argument, I would say. You know, so that's why I'm happy with that format, and it's a format which most people can accept. Then I think it's a win-win, and I do think most people are okay with it. I like to believe so. You know, it helps me sleep at night. Anyway, how long has this video even been? I feel like I've been talking for a while. It's just kind of middle of the night. I probably shouldn't even really be recording, but I'm starting to do this whole, you know, replacement thing, and I kind of wanted to get this out before I started, you know, making those videos public. Actually, in case you're worried about these like remakes, re-uploads, like filling up your sub box, YouTube videos have an option where you can like tell it to not publish to your subscription box, and that's what I'll be doing for these re-uploads of the the super copyright violating reactions that I've done in the past. I'll make sure they don't pop up in your sub box. You'll of course see them if you go to the playlists and or just go to my channel in general. You'll still see them. You can still find them perfectly, but they won't like spam your sub box. So hopefully it's not too much of a bother because of that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I really wanted to say on the matter. And yeah, if anyone has been annoyed, anyone that's been a long time subscriber, if you've been annoyed by just feeling like I change formats every 3 months, and I can get why that might feel annoying. I definitely get that. So, but I think that shouldn't be an issue anymore because I think I've pretty much settled on what I currently do, where I have just my footage, my black background behind the subs of the episode, and then just my overall overlay that has things like the episode number and anime logo and relevant links. And I think that's probably going to be my end game. I think that's kind of going to be what it's going to be for forever, unless YouTube kind of has an epiphany and they're like, well, you know what? Maybe we should start respecting fair use. I think that would be a good idea. Maybe we should side with the people that make us money instead of random companies that just throw out copyright strikes like they're candy. Maybe we should do that. Unless YouTube does something like that, this is probably going to be the format I'm going to be doing for a while. Yeah, I know some people don't like it. I know it's not ideal for everyone, but I feel like it has to be the case. At the end of the day, I do have to protect my YouTube channel at all costs. That's got to be the main priority. Because if the channel goes down, then I mean everyone loses. There's no more videos. All 1,000 whatever videos I have on my channel are suddenly gone, because I really don't think I'd be willing to re-upload all of those videos. Even the re-uploading I'm going to be doing for the super copyright violating ones is going to be a pain, but it's doable, but re-uploading literally everything would just be a nightmare, especially if they could all happen again. So that would be bad. So yeah, that's all I really have to say on this matter. Like I said, any comments or questions on any of this stuff, that's the comment section's there for a reason. I do read all the comments, of course. And yeah, so there you go.